Evening, everybody. I received an email from somebody a couple of weeks back. I receive emails like this quite regularly, and I want to share it with you. She actually asked me to share it with you guys, so I'm just going to read it from an anonymous space, okay? So her email says, "Hi Nicola, I've been following your posts and find them so helpful, and I had booked into your workshop, but it was cancelled due to lockdown. I feel more confident and happy in myself than I ever have at 40. Work and family life are going well. I'm working on my goals. However, over the years, I wasn't like that. I had no boundaries and I was led and said by others. I really didn't know who I was. At my 40th and during lockdown, I have realised I have very few friends left. I don't have a tribe outside of my lovely family and I feel really lonely. It's so hard to make friends as an adult, and I feel like awful having to start again now. And I feel awful having to start again now. Can you talk about this but keep me anonymous? I feel like the only one experiencing this, but I mustn't be. Thanks." Well, I'm here to tell you that you absolutely are not the only person experiencing that, because you could be describing me a couple of years ago. That's the first thing. But also, I would receive emails and private messages like that quite regularly from mammies who feel isolated. Now, when I lived in Dublin and I had a career working for other people, pre-children, I associated myself with my career, with my title, and all that kind of crack. I became my job. And when I was blessed to become a mother, my life changed dramatically, as all mothers' lives do. Nobody tells you that it's going to be a complete game changer and that you'll never have alone time ever again, and that a part of you is left behind in the maternity hospital, and that you turn into somewhat a different person. The old you is still kind of there, but there's a whole other new you that you weren't expecting to arrive. And I felt very duped when I became a mother, because nobody kind of explained this to me. Nobody pulled me aside and said, listen, things are going to change for the better in many ways, but things are going to change for the worse in lots of ways too. Okay. So I didn't have like an even approach or an even understanding before I became a mum. So what happened for me was my identity was totally wrapped up in my career in Trinity. And then I became a mum, and unfortunately, my son was very sick. So I gave up my career to become a full-time mother, which I have absolutely no regrets about. Wouldn't have had it any other way. And I was in a very privileged position to be able to do that, because not everybody can. However, I had to completely, reinvent the wheel of my life, because I hadn't a clue, I hadn't a rashes who I was. So moved out of Dublin when Jamie was 10 months old, moved to Duleek, totally isolated, didn't know anybody. Went from the hustle and bustle of the inner city every day to, a quiet, sleepy town where I didn't have the same facilities on my door as I did when I did live in Dublin. And I'm a totally inner city girl. So I became quite isolated and anxious and depressed very quickly. So, as you know, I'm very action orientated, and I sat with that for a while, and I said, listen, this is not changing. You're not moving from here. You've no career now. This is your life. So you're going to have to do something about it. And I set up the Duleek Parent and Toddler Group, which I set up mainly for me, and secondly for the children, because I felt like if I'm the only person, I can't be the only person in Duleek feeling this way. There has to be other mothers out there that are equally as isolated as I am. So that set me up with a bit of a network. And then I moved from Duleek and I moved to Drogheda. And then when my children started school, that set me up with a completely different network as well. Now, I don't know what age your children are. I don't know if they're school going age or if they're toddlers or whatever else. But I'm in the very privileged position to still have my best friend that I have since I'm 13 years old. She's been a constant in my life, and I'm very lucky to have her. However, all of the other friends that I have right now, I have met through my children. Not all of them are still in my life. I've moved my way through different groups over the years. You know, there was a lot of learning in some of the groups that I was in and out of. You know, kind of really working out who I was as a young mother at the time. Some of them were not my tribe. Some of them are absolutely nowhere near my tribe. And some of them are my tribe. But it was through trial and error and working on my own confidence, on my boundaries and my values that I was able to weed out the deadwood out of my circle, and removing myself from circles that I no longer wanted to be part of. And that was difficult, very, very difficult. And I struggled with that for a long time. So the purpose behind my live stream today is to let the writer, the author of that email, to let her know that no, she's not alone in her struggles. And yes, it is very isolating. And I suppose COVID-19 has shown us who is worth their salt. And I keep saying to people, it's like a wedding and it's like a funeral. The people who you don't expect to come to the forefront do, and the people sometimes who you do expect to come to the forefront don't. And I suppose it's expectations that we have on other people too. But what I'll say to the author of that email is, you know, I've created a very authentic, genuine space on all of my platforms. We just operate that way. Energetically, we don't have time for bullshitters. So spend time on the page, engage in the posts, ask questions. That's where you will become visible to other people, and potentially you might attract even an online friendship, because there are no half-arsed people who spend time on my profiles, because I wouldn't tolerate that energy for a second. There was one person actually who made a very unkind comment yesterday, and they were just blocked immediately, because ain't nobody got time for that. And I certainly don't have time for unkindness on social media, and not in my life either. So I'm here to tell you that you're not on your own. Lean in, ask questions, become part of this community. And I know for sure that when you continue to work on your confidence and your own self-esteem and your values, and that when you are in circles of people where you're spending time with your children and their children, that organically you will attract in the exact kind of friends that you need to have in your life. You might have to go through a few wobbly people, but they're only sent to test you, to remind you that you need higher standards in your life, or different kinds of people in your life that are interested in different things. So I hope that was useful to you. I'm going back out now to the back garden to help everybody with their work that they're doing. They're knocking it out of the park, clearing up the back garden for me and making it nice and pretty. So whatever you're doing on this lovely Saturday afternoon, enjoy it, stay safe, tell people how you feel about them, lean in, become more active on this page, and hug the people that you can. I really miss hugging guys, I really do. And I'll catch us all on the page later. Take it easy. Slán.